Okay, so personally, I think that was a good way to start off. That video was a good way of starting off, for the most part, the day in life for somebody who would consider themselves an MMA fighter. Um, Also, personally, I would say that's pretty much what I do on a daily basis. Not necessarily outside the top of a building, but most definitely just working out and going to the gym and participating in workout with, I guess, for the most part, other people who also enjoy the same kind of leisure activities or hobbies. I guess I'll start this off with uh, the reason why I would probably, cause I first got interested in fighting. I guess the most simplest answer is to say because I always kind of been a fan of just working out and being in the best shape possible. Um, and I guess at the same time as well, I was kind of always interested in the military services. Um, but more especially why I decided to join Dojo and go to practice MMA, mixed martial arts, for those who don't know the abbreviations, on a daily basis, Monday through Friday, or actually Monday through Saturday. Scheduling for that being, for the most part, every day from 7 to 9 o'clock. So a good 2 hour workout every single day, with the exception of Saturday, because that's a different schedule. That's only from 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock on Saturday. So it's more of a midday thing for us every Saturday is concerned. At the same time, I would say that I when I first got involved into the sport, um, I was in Sherwood, Arkansas, and I would the gym that I joined was only a couple clicks away from where I lived at. I would say a couple blocks. And so when I found the gym, eventually I would just run to the gym on a daily basis and do my 2 hours and then either run back home, or if I actually drove, then I just drive back to the house. Even now that I've moved further away, much further in West Little Rock, it's most definitely not in running distance, but at the same time I still go every day and participate. The types of people that I would say are inside the gym ranges from female to male. Of course, gender is not really a big issue. Even when it comes to workout regimens, gender still doesn't really play a big part because everybody does the same thing. When I say that, that's all I mean, is that everyone, may, as you seen in the video, may be working on mitts and gloves or jump roping. For instance, on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we always start off the 8 o'clock class with jump roping. We jump rope for probably 30 minutes, and then we go into either the mitts or kicking the bag, or just working on takedowns with your partner, because we always pair up in twos. Um, and so that's another thing that uh, is good about the Pacific Gym that I decided to join, is that it's more, how can I say, it's more focused on the individual, because I've known some gyms to where it's only, it's just kind of a classroom type of thing, or it's like in the back of a actual 10 Fitness or something like that, and people kind of just all doing their own things, and they are under, I guess, the instructions of a instructor, or I guess what we call our instructor, sensei, or the master of the dojo, which is just another term for gym or place where you work out at. Equivalent would be, place of worship for church going people or whatever. But we call it the dojo if you've been there for a while. One of the first things I learned about the sport, which in my case I participate in two, because I remember I said from 7 to 9 I go to class, but from 7 to 8 is 1 hour, and then from 8 to 9 is another hour, and those hours both contribute to two different classes, an hour apiece. And one of them is jujitsu, which I personally do enjoy to a large magnitude, because jujitsu we do every day from 7 to 8. And on only every other day for as far as kickboxing and boxing. Either you're gonna do kickboxing or you're gonna do boxing. And like I said, I really enjoy jiu-jitsu. That's one of the first things I learned was just, I didn't necessarily learn the dojo. I learned it just because I was always kind of a sports fanatic when it came to MMA or fighting mixed martial arts. And so I kind of knew what simple moves, arm bars and triangles were, but actually how to execute those moves. And that was one of the first things I actually learned. And like every day we come in, and the instructor, if he's actually too hurt to teach us, we have like another instructor that's right under the sensei, and he pretty much shows us like a different move every single day, and we just kind of pick categories of what kind of moves we're gonna be doing based on his discretion. And but more especially, we practice these moves because the key is to just do them enough time to where you can do them without thinking about them. Now, how do you put how do, in that Pacific class, the jiu-jitsu class, we have a smaller ratio to male to female. For instance, it's probably about 10 of us in there on average, and it's only probably about 2 girls on average. Most of the time, that being one, if she even shows. But so for the most part, jiu-jitsu class is mainly guys. Every day of the week, nonetheless. But like I said, on average, you got 2 girls who are inclined to show up from time to time. But that is completely different when it comes to the into the kickboxing and the boxing class. We have a lot more females in general in that class, and this is also Monday through Friday. It's a lot more females. I would probably say because there is not too much hand-to-hand combat as is, far as just practicing the bag and your partner holds the mitts for you, holds the bag for you, and you kick it or you punch it or whatever you're instructed to do. So I guess that's better, I guess, or more females are more inclined to just participate in activities where they actually not beating the crap out of each other the whole entire, hour that they're there. And so for the most part, I guess the different types of styles that come along with the sport of fighting, it would be, like I said, jiu-jitsu is what I mentioned at first. I really do. Then you got things from kickboxing to boxing. Then of course, if you put them all together, you got mixed martial arts. We also in the gym, we got taekwondo. That depends. You have to come at a different time frame, but at the same time, there are taekwondo classes, which is probably the second or probably the first. What I would have to say is one of the most popular. I guess more importantly, our sensei is he is one of he is an instructor. Also, he's like a black belt for the most part. The highest degree black belt in taekwondo, highest degree black belt in jiu-jitsu, highest degree black belt in kickboxing. Therefore, he's certified to teach all these different fighting styles. And more especially, I think people are in general, I guess in society, are just more inclined to taekwondo because it's more of a common name. And on top of that, I guess it's more well funded because you got all types of taekwondo things that happen everywhere. The Taekwondo Association, and then I guess boxing being second place, because you got the boxing, the actual name. I don't want to mess it up. Like every boxer who actually fights in the state of Arkansas has to go through the USABoxingMembership.org. And become a member. And the member tends, I think I pay $50, $40, I think. And most of the time, I think the membership, it's online. I think all of them are the same for the most part. You pay your $40 or $50, and you're a member, and that means you're able to fight for them, or you're able to compete for the most part in all sports concerning MMA, kickboxing, or martial arts in general, which will be more geared toward taekwondo. Okay, what is the goal of participation in the sports? I would have to say that most definitely for most people, the majority of people, it's just to get in shape. People do it as a hobby to stay in shape or to get into shape. I think more of the women in there actually come to get into shape or to stay in good shape if they already happen to be in decent health. Then you have the next majority of people would probably be to just learn something new as far as fighting or fighting style they was already kind of interested in, and therefore they found a dojo that was at a reasonable price and they had reasonable time periods to go and participate, and so they just go to learn something new because they always want to do it anyway. Then third, smallest percentage would probably be people who actually want to take it to the next level. Um, Personally, those are the people who you would probably see more on a daily basis. They are less likely to change. When I say change, I guess I mean leave and go to another dojo or just like not show up that day because sometimes you got rainy days. Sometimes, but most of the people who are really dedicated, the most dedicated people in the dojo, would probably be the people who actually, you know, plan on fighting or want to become a fighter, a professional fighter that is, and more especially think that they either work hard enough to do so or they just, has enough God-given talent and ability to do so. Um, more and actually have experienced fights, and got in the ring before or rolled before, as we call it, as far as jujitsu, and they've done pretty well in competition. Therefore, they want to just see how far they can take it. I would say the types of relationship that you start to form in the in in the dojo in general. It's just you get to know people. I remember my first day. It's just I didn't really say much farther my first week or so. I just kind of worked out. And you see that kind of with all the new people that come in, they just kind of work out and they don't really say much. And then the more people who've been there longer, they kind of come up to them and they be like, "Hey, my name's so and so. What's yours? And you should come back tomorrow." It's in the crazy part. It's kind of all kind of marketing in a sense because you want them to come back because the more people paying, the more well funded you are, and that means better for everyone, especially the people who've been there longer, or at least the people who plan to be there long term. Um, because you got situations like jujitsu, it takes you 2 years just to get a black belt in taekwondo and jujitsu. Well, 2 years to get a black belt in taekwondo, and you range from like 6 or 7 different belts, starting with white, yellow, green, blue, red, and I think then eventually back. Versus Jiu-Jitsu, it takes you 2 years to get a blue belt, which is just the second highest, ranging after white. So you got white, blue, uh, brown, white, blue, purple, brown, and then black. So you got less belts in Jiu-Jitsu. That means it's harder to rank up. Therefore, it takes more time to do so, or to be associated with a gym or instructor to rank up. What are the types of relationships that you form in the sport? I mean, for the most part, you form really good friendships. Every now and then, you have people in there who've been there for a while, even longer, I guess, than myself. And when I say that, I mean like a couple years. Been there a couple years on just one set dojo. Now they might tend. You can see some relationships forming, except relationships being closer than friendships, as far as girlfriend or boyfriend, and that's just come from being around each other so much, and most people spend so much of their free time in there because that's when they're not at school or they're not at work or they're not just participating in family life. Some it's certain girls come in there. They got kids, children, and they just come in there with their children, and they just kind of children sit around and watch or on a computer while they working out. And then you got some instance where you got mother and daughters come in and they both working out and they come to class every day. And so you just got different types of relationship forming everywhere for the most part. Um, I guess what is the sport all about? Personally, for me, I want to see how far I can take it. Like I say, first and foremost, I like staying in shape. I want to see how far I can take it if I'm actually a pretty good fighter. More especially, I like just the sense I guess it would be competition, sense of competing just on a regular basis. Trying to make yourself better, try to make yourself more in a sense. Better than you was. And you learn something new every day. So how much can you learn? How much knowledge can you acquire in the topic of fighting? Um, and I think, like I said at the beginning, that's pretty much what attracted me to the sport from the beginning. And once I actually found it and I seen that it was for me, I was personally so serious about it that I was working out ahead of time before I even found a dojo, because I wanted to focus more on my technique and actually learning things versus trying to get in shape, because that's just a process of joining. You actually gotta get in shape first. The first couple of days you just kind of like just wore out and tired. And Sensei likes to say all the time, today is the most important workout of your life, but tomorrow is the most important. But tomorrow is the most important workout. So I guess actually it goes more like today is the best workout of your life, and tomorrow is the most important workout of your life. That's what he says all the time. And I guess what he means by that is exactly what he's saying. The first day, the day you actually push yourself and you actually made it to the gym, you actually working out. That's the best workout of your life, because you're gonna be so tired and you're trying to, and even if you are in shape, you're gonna get tired, because that's the goal. Now that I was already in shape, but that's the thing. If I'm not tired by the end of my workout, that means I was kind of slacking that day. So I always kind of like to be, tired at the end of my workout, because it lets me know that I had a good workout. And at the same time, the most important workout is being able to show up the next day. And in spite of, dealing with other things, having a family, having to go to school, having to go to work, all these things people balance, and at the same time, they still find time for their hobbies, or the things at least that they really want to do. In fighting, for the most part, it's always a hobby when it comes to people come to gym, because nobody comes in the gym because they got to go to work. And if they do, or if they are actually at work, because some of the other instructors that are associated with the gym, it started off for them even as a hobby as well, and they just turned it into a job, which is being something that they love to do. So they end up getting paid, which is pretty much a complete bonus. Um, and like I said, so you always come in there just starting off with a hobby. And I think that's one thing most everyone has in common. It's just something extra that they want to do, or fit into their lives. Because like I said, you balance between a whole lot of other stuff. But girls and guys alike, it starts off as a hobby. It's something that they want to do on their own. What are the types of people that participate in the sports? Uh, the type of person? That's a question more. It's not necessarily, I guess, a type of person that particular plays, unless that type of person is somebody who actually likes to work out. But then again, you got people who like work out. They actually, they just go to the gym. That might have nothing to do with fighting per se, but people who actually like to fight. So I guess the type of person you need is somebody who actually enjoy the sport of fighting, just hand to hand combat. That plus working out, then you might get someone who actually wants to try and go into a dojo and actually learn a technique or a fighting style that they always was interested in. So I would say that would be most definitely considered the type of person, someone who just enjoys fighting and nonetheless working out on top of that. Um, I guess who how do participants refer to themselves? In there, everyone just kind of refer to themselves as who they are, by name or whatever. It's no like uh, I hear sometimes like in the military, you might when you first get in, you might just be considered a crab or a cadet or something like that if you've been in for a while, or a sergeant, all right. But for the most part, it's just everyone's referred to themselves, except with the exception of the sensei. And he don't really even require that you call him sensei, but just you can tell most of the people who've been there for a while tend to call him sensei, um, or Master Dream, or anything to that degree, or like I said, Master or something like that. And like that's just a form of respect type of thing. For instance, another form of just respect that you do, like when you go before you actually if you get onto the mat, you got to have your shoes and socks off. You can't just go on the mat with your shoes on. That's one thing. In the gym, you can go in the gym, just kind of work out, pick a machine, work out on it. If you see a bag, you can punch on the bag or whatever. But in the dojo, you actually got to take your shoes and your socks off. You can't have shoes and socks on the mat. Um, on top of that, you're supposed to bow in before you get on the mat, and you bow out before you leave the mat. And it's supposed to be, well, it's supposed to be a representation of it's sensei's gym, therefore it's his like his dojo, or what we call it rather, and that's his like sacred place for the most part. So you gotta respect it because you in somebody else's sacred place. You know, this is his life in a sense. You know, it's how he pays his bills, it's how he feeds his family, and so you know you just want to respect that to the utmost degree. And at the same time, you can see that the people who've been there a while always never forgets to bow in and bow out. But for other classes like just a kickboxing class where I say it's a lot more, or boxing class where it's a lot more women just come in, or just random people for the most part. Some people may be just trying it out. It might be their first couple of days, which is just free to just come in and try out. And people who've been there for a while, they bow in and they bow out. But people who haven't, you know, they don't bow in and they don't bow out. They do, however, have their shoes off and socks off no matter what. But they don't bow in and bow out, and it's not really like stressed, I guess. Because no one really says anything about it. But like I said, shoes and socks, though, that's most definitely #1 rule. Everyone in there, no one has shoes and socks on. um, and so I guess that's pretty much sums up the day, life, and times of a fighter.